Alrighty then, it's time for a top lane Aurelion Sol game, everyone's favorite phallic champion. Was Chick 1, and of course he's very phallic. He's long, slender, and hard, and he's got a big head. That's 2. Plus, he's got 3 balls, and every man over 20 knows you can only play with your balls 3 times a day. Anyways, onto a more serious matter. I've been trying to play Aurelion Sol whenever I can. He's probably one of my new favorite champions in the game. Hell, I might even say top 5. He's just so fun to play, and again, kind of funny that you like playing with your balls so much. Anyways, I've played him top lane, mid lane, in the jungle, and so far I've seen, yeah, top lane seems to be like his home, although jungle is pretty damn fun. There's quite a bit of differences between top lane and jungle. In top lane Aurelion Sol games, you tend to get a little bit more farm, and your W leveling that up tends to be more effective because you can use it for farming better and hitting harder. But in the jungle, it's vice versa. You get less farm, so you have to be more efficient with your build, and maxing out Q first in the jungle tends to be better because you want that burst damage, you want that stronger Q for ganks. So it's kind of cool to see that a little bit because not a lot of junglers these days have that sort of disparity in their laning and in their jungle. A lot of junglers kind of level up the same and build the same regardless of top lane and jungle, although of course some gold discrepancies still count. Top lane Aurelion Sol is different against jungle Aurelion Sol, and that with the gold you tend to be able to buy flat out more tankier builds. In the jungle you sort of have to take the defensive masteries to make up for that loss of tankiness. You build Rylai's Scepter and then obviously Luden's Echo, or at least Runic Echo from the jungle build. And in the lane, you can build Rod of Ages and whatnot. Anyways, you saw this clip in a different video already. Here, I just avoid being killed by Graves and Scion. They do miss a few skills here and there, but I just flash away rather than flashing towards my turret because I figure that Graves would probably have shot me down. Thanks to this little maneuver, I kill Scion, Graves chases me too far, and eventually my teammate Evelyn and the Zed catch him and finish him off. You can see it right here. So that sets a good tone for me right now. Basically, I obtained 2 kills that I really shouldn't have obtained. Mostly because the enemy team sort of got outplayed by me and by themselves. Still, though, Scion is proving to be a tough customer because he's really tanky and I can't really do a lot of damage. So, one of the things about Aurelion Sol that can make him at least a little bit difficult to play, or at least, carry games, is that he's mostly sustained damage. Meaning that unless your opponents do something stupid or aren't really trying to outplay you, you won't kill them fast enough before they realize they shouldn't be doing dumb shit. Like a lot of other champions, or at least a tip for solo queue. Burst champions tend to be better because you can kill out an opponent before they get to flash or do anything. Let's say you're Talon or Ori or something like that. You see an opening happen, you jump in there and you absolutely giga wreck somebody before they get to respond. If you mess up your combo, they just flash or blink out before they die, right? Aurelion Sol and other sustained champions aren't like that. You can't take advantage of a situation like, they have a misstep, you go in there, blink in and CC them, but your damage is slow enough that you cannot kill them before they have a chance to react some way. So you have to be able to outplay them or catch them again. Sort of as you saw here, my opponents were really ham-fisted and kind of handled that poorly, but I just didn't have enough damage to kill them quickly enough before they got to roam around, split up, and just kind of make my damage inefficient. So that's been a bit of a problem for Aurelion Sol. In solo queue, I can't really carry as him. I can do a lot, but then I sort of fall out of favor when I can't kill people fast enough. I sort of have to snowball hard. But in team games, when I'm playing with my friends and shit, holy crap, Aurelion Sol really does have that effectiveness because your teammates are able to understand that you're not going to be providing that absolute murder power, and your teammates are going to be able to make up for some of that. As you can see, my teammates kind of got fucking wrecked right there in their little jungle fight. Me, I'm still sort of struggling with Scion, mostly because he's ridiculously fat. I didn't really think I was going to be fighting someone as fat as him, but still, I'm not outright losing to him. But his push is making it really difficult for me just to control this lane. As you can see, my build is going for Rod of Ages. I'm going to be going with that sort of tanky Aurelion Sol build because I figure Vayne and the Zed are going to be dealing the majority of the damage. Thankfully, they are getting Evelyn and the Zed are getting pretty big, just killing mid laner over and over. And the enemy team seemingly kind of keeps going into these fights recklessly. We do kill the Talon, but as Tristana comes in, and I believe she kills Zed. Either way, fight gets all sorts of messy here. The Evelyn gets killed, I get caught by a Scion, and I try my best to try to survive, and I do. I survive barely. He taunts me, but ends up getting him caught by the Vayne. But the Vayne, as a result of trying to outplay Scion, getting kills, ends up getting herself killed, and now Tristana's massive. So yeah, this is a big back and forth. Both teams are kind of going for the Call of Duty montages right now, rather than trying to play intelligently. So that's another thing that I'm going to have to say about Aurelion Sol. In any lane or even in the jungle, that's something I've observed. If your teammates fall behind, it's really hard for you to contribute. Kind of for the same reasons I already mentioned. Aurelion Sol just doesn't have that oomph power to kill somebody vital. You sort of just have to destroy the enemy team all at once, just sort of beat up on them. Anyhow, as I said, it's just I'm having an issue just trying to farm here because all he keeps doing is pushing. So overall, he's kind of pissing me off and bugging me at this point. He's trying to go for the kill now. He did do a considerable amount of damage, and I'm going to be trying to outplay him. He ults me. I don't have my flash, so I'm trying to get behind him so I can ult him into the wall and then stun him, and hopefully my turret can murder his ass. And unfortunately, I just don't deal enough damage. He survives with a sliver of health. That was a big gamble. I might have been able to survive if I just had walked away using my ultimate to force him away, stunning him. But I kind of wanted to go for the kill just because I figure I need to get bigger and bigger in order to turn the tide of this battle so far, because the Tristana is really goddamn massive. Here we try to go for the kill, but unfortunately, once again, it's pretty messy. In comes Scion, in comes Talon, in comes Graves. Evelyn and Braum go for the Talon, but Zed ends up being able to pick it up, and thankfully the enemy team sort of split themselves up here, so slowly but surely we're able to finish them off. I go for the Graves when my teammates pick up the Scion, and we go for it, and we get like a very late total wipe of the enemy team, or ace, I mean. Anyways, one of the cool things about Aurelion Sol, and I've mentioned it in his other videos, is that he's one of the champions that Riot has made that is just oozing with smart design choices, except as he's still complete ass wipe garbage. I hate that fucking ability. No matter how much I love Aurelion Sol so far, I hate that ability. But he's got a lot of power in his W. It deals a shitload of damage. So they made his burst a lot less powerful than a lot of other champions. A lot of it is kind of in his ultimate. But my god, if he's able to do sustained damage to you, they fixed the problem that sustained champions have. The problem with sustained champions in most iterations is that if they do too much sustained damage, they just fuck everyone up, and there's nothing you can do about it. If they don't do enough, then why pick them in the first place? Look at Swain and Cassiopeia. Historically, they've been insanely overpowered when their damage was too high. Like, they didn't have the uber burst damage that mages had, but their sustained damage racked up so quickly that it might as well have been considered equal to the burst damage, right? So when that happened, those champions got really overpowered, and Riot swiftly nerfed them. You can go back in through the history of League of Legends and check out how long these sustained mages were allowed to exist in any state. So usually the problem with those champions is that their ability to deal sustained damage and keep you in that sustained damage was way too easy, and there was nothing you could do. What can a lot of melee champions do against Swain? If Swain is good, no melee champion can get close to him. However, is Aurelion Sol. Aurelion Sol, he has a lot of sustained damage. He has the means of putting you in that sustained damage so he can hurt you, but he's got a lot of dead zones. Zones in which he can't do shit. He can't hit you from a huge distance, reliably. There's a lot of ways you could just avoid him by going over the walls or something, or some shit. He's not very mobile except with his E, but his E gets cancelled rather easily, and if you hit him, he can't use it. If you get in melee range, he can't hit you. It just becomes any champion that gets in melee range, pretty much one man's Aurelion Sol, no matter how huge he is. He just can't do anything. His ultimate is his only out against that. Like if Graves or Talon get in melee range, the only way I can fight them off is with my ultimate. But even then, if I miss that, or if they survive that in my combo right after, they'll easily kill me right again. So Aurelion Sol just has he's pretty balanced for a sustained mage. And I'm actually giving Riot a lot of kudos for that. And this is what I mentioned here. I go up to the Talon and we split up, and then he jumps me, and I start panicking. There's jack shit I can do. I'm trying to create space, and then I use my ultimate blindly because he just used his ultimate to avoid me, and he outplayed me by going behind me. That was ridiculous. That's how you beat Aurelion Sol. If he didn't do that, I would have probably just shat on his face. In a lot of team fights, you've seen that, and hell, you'll see that too. When I get a good ultimate on the enemy team and create enough space for my W to hit them, Aurelion Sol does a shitload of damage, more than a lot of burst mages could do within a similar time frame of hitting a champion. But again, it's perfectly balanced for Aurelion Sol. I think, of course, his numbers were a little bit too high early on, and that's why he got nerfed a little bit. But right now, he's just kind of underplayed for several reasons. One, he just came out, so he's pretty expensive to play. Two, he's pretty a lot different for a lot of champions, or than a lot of champions. So a lot of people are having difficulties sort of playing him, right? And he's also kind of not as interactive as other mages, or at least rewarding. I think that's a better word. Like I've been mentioning, you can't just go and blow someone up. You got champions that are super badass, like Zed or Ori, who jump in there and absolutely shit on someone, and it looks all cool. Aurelion Sol is, more slower and careful in that matter, and he's just kind of, just dancing and weaving. It isn't super flashy, despite of how cool the visuals might be, right? Anyways, in this little situation, I loved it. It was fun. Just the Alistair using his CC, just trying to harass Zed for no reason, allowed us just to turn the tides and go right in. We couldn't really get too brave in fighting them, but because the Alistair for no reason used his headbutt on the Zed, it was like, oh, we have enough ways of closing the gap on Graves and just picking him off. Thank you for removing the only obstacle we had in place. So, hooray for us, I guess. Aurelion Sol, though, again, he's really expensive IP-wise, and very different, so I wouldn't really recommend you go out and buy him, because he may not fit your style. He's definitely cool and very fun for me to play, but I can't really guarantee him for a lot of people just because he's so different. Otherwise, you can see my damage racked up quite a bit right there, but they got a melee range of me, and that was absolutely jack dick I can do. My ultimate was enough to at least control them a little bit and do some damage, but just me alone wasn't enough. So I love that. I love that in any champion when they have very obvious counterplay, because it allows Riot to just add power to them and without being afraid. Like Riot has to rework Cassiopeia considerably with one of her stronger abilities, or at least one of the more, it's going to sound funny, toxic abilities that she had, because it was difficult to balance. Swain is likely up for some sort of rework eventually too. It's because those abilities just kind of, there's no counterplay around them. It's either counterplays don't stand on them or don't get too close to them, and that's it. There's really, that kind of inhibits a lot of potential for a lot of champions, right? But Aurelion Sol is hug him or avoid his balls and time your movements against it. And a lot of champions can do that, so I love it. I love when Riot does that. I know I'm not commentating too much on this game, but you can see it's such a long, tedious game. Or not really super long, it's just a lot of shit happen, and you can sort of figure it out. It's a lot of back and forth, people sacrificing their lives pointlessly, people making really bad decisions, including myself, and people taking a lot of risks. So it's just kind of, I would end up repeating myself, just saying, oh, Tristana went full brave and died, or Braum gets too brave and dies as well. It's just back and forth, everyone dealing death to each other. Like right here, Evelyn was getting a little too greedy against her opponents, and I joined her too. Graves just kind of inadvertently just jumps in and realizes, holy shit, I'm stuck between two people, leaving Tristana to die. Vayne goes after Graves, and then Talon comes in to pick off the Vayne and kills her. I'm running for my life, leaving Braum just to die. He kills the Talon in response, and then Zed is like, they're picking him. Zed, join the fray, join the fray. I'm too weak to do anything, but Zed just destroys the turret, and Braum and him just sort of back off. It's a funny game, which is kind of one of the bigger reasons I chose to upload it. Plus, it's kind of like the last footage I had of the pre-mid-season. As you can see, the Rift Herald still isn't the Uber Rift Herald, and we still have the old dragon. So, yeah, after this, you're just seeing nothing but after mid-season kind of gameplay footage. But yeah, that's what I mean. Just this game is just so back and forth. It was probably one of the more entertaining games I've played, despite how fucking stressful it was. I was so stressed playing this game because I wanted to win it, especially because I bought Aurelion Sol on this account, and I just wanted to start off on a good note with this account. And I've been really dying to play Aurelion Sol, and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna play him top lane if I can't play him jungle. So yeah, it's just been very killer. By the way, my teammates picked off Talon and Tristana without killing themselves this time. So we get a little, too ahead of ourselves. We push forward. I take a huge ass beating from the turret. Then Alistair gets in there and gets the Vayne and the Evelyn. And thankfully, no one dies immediately. But Sion gets super brave, goes in, kills the Evelyn. Then I believe he ends up killing the Vayne as well. Yeah, the Vayne gets killed. My teammates are running away as much as we can. I turn around, control it, kill the Alistair as he tries chasing after me. Thankfully, since I have Riley's Scepter, I'm able to control a lot more space than usual. You can see that Graves got a little too brave and got killed by the Zed. It's still just, everyone's basically swapping blood right now. We're going into that weird vampirism. And look at this. Zed just standing there, baiting the Talon, who for whatever reason thought he could take down the Zed. He could see my balls hanging out. He goes on the Zed and we just fucking blow him up. This game is all sorts of fucking dumb and chaos. I love it. I kind of, as much as I rather have really organized games sometimes and having very precise things, a game like this, when everyone seems to be a pretty good player, but just too goddamn reckless, they're funny as hell. Seemingly all the players here know their mechanics and know what they're doing, right? But everyone's just so greedy. Sorry, just so greedy and is trying to go for kills. Anyways, I end up going with my E behind them, and I managed to catch a few of them, but now we sort of sandwiched and pincered the enemy team in. Zed is just split pushing constantly, and the enemy team has absolutely no response. But thanks to this, we're able just to sort of once again sideswipe them from the side. Thanks to Zed, he picks up the Tristana. We catch the Alistair and the Sion. Talon comes in, kills the Evelyn, but as a result, it opens him up to being blasted by the Vayne and by the Braum. So Talon quickly is taken down. Then we turn our attention to Alistair, who can escape my balls because I'm right now freezing him to death. And then with that, the game is pretty much done. Sion and Graves make one last ditch attempt to save the turrets, but of course, the slows, the stuns, and everything finally bring Sion down. He goes right on a little rampage, but can't break through. And Graves soon gets picked off again. No, I think he survives. Either way, as you can see, thank God the game is over. It was insanely fun. It was only 35 minutes, but it was chaotic and hilarious. I loved it. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hooray for Aurelion Sol. This channel is supported by my sponsors, Crunchyroll and Loot Crate. Check out the description below for links to the websites. Signing up for any trials, including Crunchyroll's free anime trial, greatly supports my channel. Also remember to give the video a like to support the channel and subscribe if you haven't yet.